Hey, what's up, Scream Sceners? Jody Dean here. Welcome back to another video. Dropping a lot of content today, man. I've been in the studio all day long, not just filming here for the Scream scene, but working on some new music, dealing with Prime, a new movie, Mallet 2, The Nightmare Continues, hits Prime Video October 11th. So stoked. And pre-orders open on June 1st. So make sure you're following the Mallet Facebook page and here and everywhere, right? So I want to talk about The Strangers Chapter 1. I went and seen it this past Friday. Maybe some of you guys seen the short that I released. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. All right. So first off, I'm a huge fan of the Strangers movies as it is. When I heard they were releasing a chapter 1, I'm like, chapter 1? Is there going to be a chapter 2 and a 3? Where are we going with this, right? So supposedly on this run, there is going to be 3 chapters. Chapter 1 was so well done, filmed beautifully. The acting was amazing. The actors were, it was the right cast for this. Even though we don't see the strangers' faces in this movie, the people that play them do a phenomenal job with their body language, with their movement. The few little times that you hear them speak, not that they say a lot, there's literally only a few words. It's just the right amount of creepiness. Now, one thing about this movie that I love is there's a lot of building suspense, but it's not overkill. It's just enough. The action is pretty rapid. I am a huge action person. I love when I watch a horror film, my favorite horror films are horror films that keep the action scenes coming, the kill sequences, or the reasons to be scared, the jump scares. And they had the perfect amount of suspense in this movie, but they also had an amazing amount of jump scares, building suspense, action scenes, things to make you say, there's something going on. There's somebody out there. It really got you. It got you in the vibe of what The Strangers is here to get you into. Yeah, that's what The Strangers is, man. I went and seen the movie with my wife and my 2 boys. They loved it as well. My girl almost didn't even want to go in the movie theater. She felt like something bad was going to happen. She feels like when she watches The Strangers, and this is going back to the first movie and the second movie, that bad things are going to happen because she had an experience when she was younger. And what's crazy is I don't relate mine to The Strangers, but it's funny because I had an experience when I was younger too. That's a stranger-like experience, and she did. So I'll tell you about hers first off, and this is why she was hesitant on going to see this movie with us and didn't really want to go in the theater. So when she was younger, they were eating dinner at their dinner table, and a woman knocked on their door, and she had a baby in her arms. And they said that there was something not right about the woman. Like, yeah, she had a baby, but she was like, I need your help. And they were like, what's wrong? And she's like, you have to come with me. And they were like, well, no, tell us what's wrong. And she ran off. It was weird. Now, the crazy thing is my wife, well, when she was a kid, she lived in the middle of nowhere surrounded by woods. So first off, they're like, why is this girl here? How is she here? And then second, she runs off. And they kind of look at each other and they look back and she's gone. They go outside and they look around and they don't see her. She had a baby in her arms. How the hell did she disappear? So that's a really creepy story. And that's kind of stuck with her whole life. What it has to do with this movie, I don't know. But I get it. I get it. Things stick with you, right? So I had a situation when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was watching Psycho in the living room with my mother and my grandmother. Coolest parents ever, right? So we're sitting there and we're watching Psycho, and our living room's right here, and there's this big glass window in our living room. And if you look out that window, you're looking at our front porch. And we had these drapes that kind of like, they would come like this. And there was like a little, you could see kind of like it leave the illusion there, like somebody could look in on you or something like that. But we never thought about that, right? We're sitting there watching the movie Psycho, and I look over, and all of a sudden I see a man standing there dead center looking through this window. And I say something, and as soon as I say something, they seen it too. And my mom gets up and charges, and he goes to take off. Well, I follow up behind her, and we pull the window back, and we look, and we see this man all dressed in black just run across the street, and just go away. What an experience to have when you're watching Psycho. When you're watching a movie about a psycho, and a psycho starts, peeping, tomming you, creeping, being all stalkery and shit, right? So, when I watch movies, I don't think about that experience too much. But when she told me about hers, it definitely was something that I was like, you know what? I had a crazy experience like that with somebody just kind of like watching being, weird and stocky. So, but The Strangers is so well done. This boyfriend and girlfriend, they're not even engaged. They haven't even talked about, marriage, but it's something that she wants, and she hints at in the film. They've been together for 5 years. She's, going for like this job interview. And once again, it's one of those type of films, and, they're traveling, they're in the middle of the nowhere. They stop to get something to eat. All of a sudden they have some car issues, just happens to be a garage across the street. These people offer to fix the car. So now we've got to stay here overnight. Damn it. I think the garage had something to do with the car getting messed up. I think they were short on business in that town. And these guys said, you know what? Let's be some criminals of opportunity. I see some opportunity. Let's fuck their car up, right? Anyway, so they're like, is there any hotels around here? No, there ain't no hotels around here. Or if there is hotels around here, like they're all booked up this time of year, hunting, whatever. So they're like, well, there's like one of those Airbnb things. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll check into that. They get the Airbnb. Doesn't look like much from the outside. They go inside, and they're like, whoa, this is actually really nice. Wow, how cool. It's quiet out here. We're staying in this beautiful cabin, house, whatever it is. And the night just goes haywire from there. The girl's hungry. The guy's left his inhaler in the car. He has to go back into town to get it. And as soon as he does, that's when shit starts happening. Is Tamara there? Is Tamara there? Is Tamara, not Tamara. Oh my God. Tia and Tamara. Remember that show? But anyway, the girl's knocking on the door. Is Tamara there? No, there's no Tamara here. She keeps coming back. She keeps knocking. And this knock that this little old girl is knocking, like, it's one of those heavy knocks where, like, if somebody knocked at my fucking door that way, they're getting their hand broke, bro. They're getting a broken hand for that shit. Like, these are heavy, like, like trap house knocks, like freaking the cops, the SWAT coming into your door type knocks, where when you knock and it's like, holy shit, are you trying to break my door? What the hell? And then they open up and says, this girl, is Tamara here? It's so creepy. Okay. Again, they do a great job at building the suspense, but the guy leaves, and when he comes back, shit starts hitting the fan. And before you know it, I'm not going to tell you anything else because I don't want to spoil it. What I will say is this right here, guys, is The Strangers Chapter 1. I was on the fence if it was going to be able to beat the previous movies. I don't know that that's what they were going for, but it looked like a remake, and it is, but it is a really good remake. And they establish that scary in such a different way than the first two films. Lots of similarities, but it's its own film with some identical to it, obviously, you know, the characters themselves and things like that. But everything was great about it. I love the way it was filmed. I love their color grading. I love the music of the thing. You know, I look at these movies in a filmmaker aspect and a horror fan. And I just every frame I was just kind of looking and I was like, man, this is a beautifully shot horror film. But also, you know, I feel like they did something a little bit different. They made me have hope when I was watching it. I'm somebody that loves to have hope for the victims in these movies. And a lot of times, especially if you're watching a Rob Zombie film, you know that your hope is not going to have no hope. Your chances of survival are none. But in this movie, they give you little nuggets of hope here and there. And in those moments, you're like, oh my God, they might get away. They might get one over on them. They might, you know, come back and beat this son of a bitch. And there is that there. And they did a great job of taking your emotions on a ride. It is a roller coaster ride. It kept me on the edge of my seat. And even though I make horror films, even though I don't have like real nightmares and I don't get like super scared or anything like that, I do have this thing where I get these rushes when I watch horror films where, you know, I like really, really get into them. I'm like, you know, like I'm constantly jumping like this. I'm like, are you okay? Like, yeah, I'm okay. That's what I love about this, right? This movie did that to me several times, and that's something I love. I live for that, and now I try to you know, give that same experience to people as a filmmaker myself. Definitely go see The Strangers Chapter 1. If you haven't seen it already, I suggest you go see it in the movie theater, man. It's there. I don't know how long it'll be there. Nowadays, if these films don't do great in the theater, man, they're hitting DVD really quick, and that's cool because you should see it in the theater and you should own physical copies. There's nothing like having a physical copy of something, especially if you see it in the theater and you enjoy it, man, buy a DVD. I love you guys so much. I'll be back in a few days. I'm Jody Dean. This is The Scream Scene. But until next time, sweet nightmares. I love you all.